again, just a video we put together kind of showcasing Magnum's first season. Now, there are very few people in the amusement industry that I know I don't have to introduce to any of you. And we're very fortunate to have a couple of those people here tonight, one of them being Ron Toomer. So please give me your best CoasterMania welcome.
Whenever something like that happens, I have to look around and see if somebody important came in. But it's really a pleasure to be here. I can't believe most of you were here 10 years ago because there's about 3 times as many people, I think. How many were here 10 years ago for the 10th? Goes by pretty fast. In the 20, the first time I came to Cedar Point was 40 years ago. And we opened a thing called the Cedar Creek Mountain Lodge. 40th anniversary this year. A couple of years ago, I had the pleasure to meet with a group of acers in Six Flags over Texas for the 40th anniversary of the first runaway mine train and the first coaster I ever built in my life. And it seemed like from then on, it's been one twisty thing after another. Dick Kindle sort of giving you some of the history of what goes on. And everybody says, well, why don't you build this, why don't you build that? Well, it always takes 2 to tango, you might say. Somebody has to want what you're going to build. So most of my career in building roller coasters was based on customer calling up and saying, Ron, can you do this? And I always said yes. And the same thing happened the day they called and wanted to know if we could go to 200 feet. It didn't take me 3 seconds to say, of course we can. And that led us into more and more things. Getting the Magnum done. Much of a few months later, that Jeffrey Thompson from Blackpool, England was out here. And he called and says, Ron, can you build me one like that in England? Of course I said, yes. And we did that. I imagine some of you have been over there and seen that one too. A few of you. That's another great big one, but it's sort of different because it swallows the park. I mean, it really is so much bigger than anything else there. All those old ones that were the greatest things in the world. 100 feet high or 20 feet high, and all you can see is this giant coaster from out in the ocean. It's really a fantastic picture. But my history with Cedar Point, of course, as you all know, has been kind of an ongoing thing over the years. We've done a lot of different coasters and rides. The mine train was the 3rd coaster that I ever did. The corkscrew was the first that got away from the original Knott's Berry Farm standard corkscrew. We went on from there for the Gemini, was the one and only racing coaster that I ever did. And that turned out to be quite a ride too, I think. And having never ridden on many of the things, everybody wonders, well, how can you do it? Well, you feel it. I could sit down at the drawing board and I could actually feel what's going on around the corners. I've ridden enough of them to know what it feels like. And that may sound strange, but a lot of work went into trying to make them smoother. And some of the first mine trains were pretty jerky things. But after a while we learned what to do and how to do it. And I think by the time we got to the Magnum here, it turned out a pretty nice ride. And I know you guys like the incoming to the station part of it the best, I think. Yes. People tell me that, somebody else told me that the second seat in the back car is the ejection seat. When you go over the top of the lift. Is that true? Okay. But it's been a great story, an amazing contribution that we've gotten from the people at Cedar Point here 3 years, and we worked together. Lee and I's been, I don't know how many nights eating, and he picked me up at the airport in the middle of a snowstorm one time, and we can through all kinds of things like that. And disasters when the tornado struck. I think that was just about the time we were going to start on the Gemini, wasn't it? They were just getting ready to cut down all the trees out in that plot, and the tornado took care of most of that. And then here 2 or 3 days later, and one of the trees had fallen on the mine train, so they had to build a new track there. And all these trees had been twisted off about so far off the ground. It was laying all over the place, but it's, when I come back now, it's hard to imagine what it used to look like. It wasn't anything out that way at that time. It's been a great time for me. I'm retired now. Do I miss it? Of course I miss it. I spent many days traveling and touring all over the world around the coast. And my dear wife here, 1 year I was away 72 days, I think, and that was getting to be a little bit too much. And Carol, the daughter down here, worked on a corkscrew one summer while she was in college, and that was a lot of fun for her, and her daughter with us this time. I don't have a lot to say. I really appreciate a lot of questions. I like that more than just sitting here and talking about it, because I can't say too much more about how it all works or why it works or anything else. If some of you have some questions that you can ask, I'll try my best to answer them.
Anyone? Question? Come on, somebody had to ask a question.
Dozens of them.
Okay. Well, first of all, Mr. Toomer, I'd like to say thank you for the night. How things have evolved over the last 2 years. And I'm still for the 10-year anniversary of the year, and I really appreciate the listening as well. So I want to say thank you for everything you've done as far as how it's impacted with design of road courses. Getting into my question, what I'd like to ask you is very vague, so I don't kind of steer you in one direction or another, is what do you think of the general design of roller coasters today in comparison to when you first did the Madden? How do you see things evolve? Do you think they evolved the way you thought they would as far as building roller coasters and design?
Well, for what I feel about today, I kind of think roller coasters, traditional things where they go up the hill and go down around some places, and not. Everything's a roller coaster, one kind or another, because they're all over and they all coast somewhere along the line. But, you know, it's been a real learning pleasure for me during the time we spent. You know, we started out with the first mine train. I was working with Carl Bacon at the time, 4 of them. And neither one of us had built a roller coaster. I don't know if he ever rode on it, but I never did. And we just worked on it the hard way. There was no computer. We had slide rules and math tables. Everything was done longhand and worked on. I have pages and pages of calculations that we did on most of our early ones. Now I think they just let the computer look at a plot that doesn't so nobody has to work anymore. I answered your question or not.
Yes, you did. And I did want to make a comment that between the Magnum and Pepsi Max, I think those are the two most scenic roller coasters, still roller coasters I've ever been. Between Pepsi Max, after that cool, you said you worked with Jeffrey Thompson over there, and the Magnum 200, the way the ocean for Pepsi Max and being on shore and Lake Erie, I think those are two of the most scenic roller coasters I've ever been.
Oh, absolutely. I think that's right. And, you know, part of the beauty of the coaster isn't a purposeful thing. It's just the way it comes out. The beautiful flowing lines on the side.